Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to this live interactive session on pledges related to the UN International Year to End Child Labor. My name is Momo Bertrand, and I'm part of the communication team working with Alliance 8.7 to amplify the message, and calling on the world to end child labor and accelerate action. We all know the quote that kids or children are 20 or 25% of our population, but 100% of our future. And we hope that by the end of this session, we will accelerate action to help end child labor. Without much ado, I'll hand over the floor to the head of advocacy and partnership at the International Labour Organization, Fundamentals team to introduce the session. Thomas, over to you.
Thank you very much, Momo, and welcome to all participants this afternoon in Geneva, morning still in the US and Latin America, same time in Africa, and very late already, I guess, in most places of Asia. But good to see you all on board for this info session on the action pledges for the International Year. It's really a pleasure to see so many of you engaged and following and looking for information how we can support you in your endeavors and make this a real success. As you know, the International Year has been called out by the United Nations in 2019, an International Year for the Elimination of Child Labor. And it means that all member states, but also companies, business organizations, employers organizations, trade unions, civil society, regional organizations, academics, and also individuals are called upon to make this a very special year, to think about how they can make a difference in 2021 in the global fight against child labor. And the ILO has been given somehow the role of facilitating this process to support member states and organizations, and we do this from the ILO. We do this also on behalf or with the support of the Alliance 8.7 in our function as the Secretariat. So the Alliance 8.7 as a global partnership to fight child labor, modern slavery, forced labor, and human trafficking is also a key convener of this international year and facilitating, let's say, the implementation. We think this is really a unique opportunity to translate commitments that have been made already on international conferences like the one in Buenos Aires or in other global fora and events, to think about how these long-term broad commitments can be broken down into something very specific that we can achieve in 2021 in many, many places, and then hopefully also with your support and with your engagement, bring this movement towards 2022 into the 5th Global Conference on Child Labor in South Africa, going further to 2023, 2024, and 2025, which is the year that the international community has put themselves as an aspiration to eliminate child labor. It's a very ambitious goal. It's an aspirational goal. We know that, but we also think that if we take our commitment serious, if we translate this commitment into concrete action, if we think about something that can be implemented in 2021, we have a good chance to come close to that target. So the purpose of the meeting today is basically to present you a little bit of what we have prepared to support your efforts, to be at your service, to answer your questions, for the formulation of these action pledges, for the way how you can submit them, for the way they will be shared with others, and how we build on this to build momentum throughout the year and then also towards the following years until 2025. The whole focus of these action pledges, I would say, is very much on sending out positive messages that yes, it can be done. We have concrete means in our hands, in our organizations, in our countries, policies, initiatives, advocacy campaigns, programs that we can implement and that will really make a difference. And that bringing all this engagement together shows also that many, many initiatives in many, many places of the world can generate some sort of a snowball effect that will incentivize others, and that will send out a positive message on that the fight against child labor on the global level can be a success. So thank you, all of you, for being here with us this afternoon. We're looking forward to your engagement, to your questions, and hopefully we will have a very interactive session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Thomas, for that inspiring opening. Something that you said that really stuck with me is we can make this year a special year. So definitely very positive message. Now we got a recorded message from the chair of Alliance 8.7, Ms. Anushe Kavara, and we are going to listen to that message right now. Still continuing in the path of having an inspiring message. You're going to have the message in 1, 2, 3, go.
2021 is a special year for all of us. This is the year to come together and focus our efforts on a specific challenge, making the International Year for the Elimination of Child Labor a full success. We are sure that in 2021, the Alliance 8.7 will play a key role in driving real change, building community strength, and provide a platform for all stakeholders that want to put commitments into action to share their action plans, the lesson learned from implementation, and their achievements. We are asking all stakeholders and individuals willing to support this campaign to join forces with us and submit a 2021 action pledge. This means you think about some concrete initiative you're planning to implement this year. The more concrete, the better. Pathfinder countries have already explored many ways to make progress. Share your plans, share your journey, share your achievements. We must all learn from you, and it will help to drive sustainable change for children in child labor. As the chair of Alliance 8.7, I'm calling on all Alliance 8.7 partners, particularly Pathfinder countries and global coordinating group members, to take the lead on this and show the rest of the world how to act, how to inspire, and how to scale up. This initiative is for everyone, friends as well as official partners of Alliance 8.7 and individuals. The Alliance 8.7 and its secretariat will guide and support change makers in governments, businesses, trade unions, employers' organizations, NGOs, international and regional organizations, academic institutions, and others. It would be nice to see a snowball effect where many little actions in many small places change the lives of children and grow into a global movement to eliminate child labor.
What a powerful opening. Share your plans, share your journey, share your achievements. We must all learn from each other. What a powerful opening from the chair of Alliance 8.7. And right now, after all these inspirational statements, maybe we can start with a poll. And I'm going to launch a poll right now. And it just asks, are you interested in submitting a 2021 action pledge? Yes, no, or undecided? We have about 100 people on the call, and let's see what is the trend. So 30 people have answered. Are you interested in making a difference in the lives of children across the world? Are you interested in submitting a 2021 action pledge to accelerate action, to scale up, and to inspire action towards ending child labor? So about 50 people have answered. Maybe we give just 10 more seconds to the rest of the participants. Please, would love to know, because this is an interactive session and we would like to tailor it to your needs. So 10 more seconds for a number of people to give their impressions. Are you interested in submitting your pledge? So I'm going to end the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Voting is over. And so, sharing the results right now, as you can see on the screen, 80% of people on this call are interested in submitting the action pledges. Thanks a lot. 2, not yet convinced, and 11 are undecided. And hopefully by the end of this call, they will, be convinced to take action and submit their action pledges this year.
And I'm going to share the results with you. So please let me know if you're all able to see the results. According to what you have said, the 69% of you is actually interested in submitting an action pledge. Only the 7% is saying no, and then it could be also interesting to know. And some of you are undecided, and we really hope that you are going to change your mind already today. So that's like something that we will try to do.
Right now, I'm going to leave the floor to the ILO team, to the Alliance Secretariat. They're already sharing their screen, and they will take us through the 3-pillar strategy. What do you mean by the 3-pillar strategy to accelerate action and towards eliminating child labor in 2021? ILO team, Thomas, John, Leah. Thomas, John, over to you. Thomas, you're muted, please.
Thank you so much, Momo, again for giving me the floor. I will just quickly introduce and then hand over to John. I just want to give this quick overview what we mean when we talk about this 3-pillar or 3-element strategy. You know that when we were thinking about the international year and what the role of the ILO could be, on the one hand, we are going for a series of global and regional events that we are supporting for a global campaign on the necessity to accelerate the fight against child labor. And parallel to that, we want to engage with as many partners as we can through our networks, our constituents, the Alliance 8.7 partners, and other networks that are working with us to see how we can implement a strategy that builds basically on these 3 elements that also the chair of the Alliance already mentioned in her video message: to act, to inspire, and to scale up. So that's just words at the beginning. It may not mean a lot if you just look at it, but if we interpret it, if we get a little bit behind it and explain what we mean, we would probably say that when we ask to act, we are calling on all stakeholders and constituents to choose one specific action or some specific initiative that they would like to implement this year in the fight against child labor within their range. We are very good often to ask others, the government should do this, business should do that, NGOs should be more active, the press should look at this. No, it's on ourselves. It's what we can do and what our organizations can do to make a contribution. Of course, it can be with partners and it should be in coordination, but it's really our role to act and to start doing something very concrete, time-bound in 2021 that paves the road towards the elimination of child labor in 2025. And this should not come out of the blue. It can be built up onto existing commitments. It's just to say, look what you pledged in international conferences, look into your long time 4, 5, 6 year plans on the elimination of child labor, look into campaigns and policies that you are already running, and identify something that makes a concrete contribution in 2021. John will expand a little bit more on this, but that's basically the idea of starting to act and taking commitments to action. The second one is to inspire, meaning that we're not going alone. We work on this from our organizations, from our countries, from our constituents, but we share the journey with others, with other change makers. We have the idea that every month we share good practices of this community and with what you are doing and what worked well, and what challenges you are facing on the webpage for the International Year, and providing also a platform for exchange on good practices so that you can learn from each other and see what others are doing, how you can join forces, how you can learn from good practices of others, or how you might also avoid failures that others have committed and that can show you how to shorten up the road without committing these mistakes. And then the last one, the third element of the strategy, the scale-up strategy, means that we build upon these achievements, that hopefully by the end of 2021, we have a nice portfolio of successful intervention models and initiatives and good practices, looking into how we can put more funding behind it, how we could scale it up in collaboration with new partners from this network, or also external partners, funding partners, but also development partners, other countries that are doing similar things, other organizations that are doing similar things. And to keep lookout for organizations and individuals that will partner in the years to come, so that this is not only an initiative for 2021, but an initiative that starts in 2021 and that we can build up on and scale up for the following years. And of course, the next stage in the process would be the 5th Global Conference in South Africa, but then building also up to 2025. Well, to explain a little bit more in detail, I hand over to John now for the first strategy element, the acting.
Thanks, Thomas, and hello everyone, welcome. So yes, I want to talk to you a little bit about the ACT pillar, which is, I'd say, the first pillar and an important pillar, because it's really about identifying something that you can do in 2021 that makes a difference, that you are proud of, that is realistic and achievable. So when you're thinking about submitting a 2021 action pledge, ask yourself some of these questions. What action in December 2021 would you be proud to share? Would you be proud to have completed? Think about what specific steps of such an action do I need to do throughout the year, through May, through August? What are the different things? Who are the different people I need to talk to communicate with, to encourage, to negotiate with, to make this, to achieve this 2021 action pledge? And think about how would you assess that this pledge has been achieved? Is it a conference? Is it a research? Is it providing funding? Is it doing something that you can really measure? So we've come up with this, and you probably could be familiar with this already, the SMART goal framework. We didn't come up with it, but we want to use it here. And it's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So we want you to come up with a 2021 action pledge that is guided by these points. And I'll give you some examples of how you could turn perhaps a generic action pledge into a more focused pledge. For example, you may start with the idea, we want to raise awareness of child labour in 2021. That's a very good ambition, but is it specific? Is it measurable? How do you measure awareness? Who are we raising awareness of? And so you could think about, here's a suggestion of, instead of raising awareness to end child labour, you could say, we want to hold a conference during 2021 in which member states agree on a regional roadmap to end child labour. So with that change, you've made it specific. We're holding a conference. We're agreeing on a regional roadmap. It's measurable. It's obtainable, I hope. It's relevant. And it's time-bound. Of course, all these actions should be time-bound for 2021. They can, of course, be part of a bigger thing that you've already started on many years ago and you plan to the future. But it's that subset, that thing in 2021 that we want you to make as your to identify and announce as your 2021 action pledge. Now, there are lots of tools available that you can refer to, and I'm just going to switch screens here to quickly show you. So you may be familiar with the website, and what we're here, this particular section looking at is the take action. So it's just here at the top, and you come to a page with a nice video, and you've got this area of stakeholder action, and you also say individual action. Today we're focusing on stakeholder action, the actions from regional organizations, countries, and organizations. We also, as individuals, can submit an action, can make a 2021 action pledge. And I encourage you to do that. But today we're just focusing on stakeholder action. And if you click here, and it's just to show you some of the resources that are available, you'll see this first section, which Thomas has gone through, the 3 pillars. And before submitting your action pledge, you've got a couple of guidance tools. You've got the practical guide, which takes you to this section, and you'll see a PDF. And really, this guide is broken down into these different groups that we talked about. And we give specific guidance on how you can formulate your pledge, how you can inspire others and communicate your journey, and how you can scale it up. Now, just coming back to show you 1 or 2 more other helpful resources. We've got the pledge FAQs, frequently asked questions here, and that will just take you down further down the page. And there's some common questions people have asked, and we've provided answers for. We'll update that probably after this info session, because it's updated with questions that you all are asking today, so others can also know the answers to it. And then there's the need help. So that pops up a little helpful finder that takes you through the steps, and it also provides the questions in the submission form. So when you are ready to submit your 2021 action pledge, you can refer to this and go, okay, these are the types of questions, these are the questions that I have to answer. So maybe you need to consult with a colleague or something before submitting it. Now I'll just jump back to the presentation in a second. And just to touch upon the support, we can provide support and feedback on formulating your action pledge. So please reach out to us by email on 2021@alliance87.org, and we will certainly help you to make to follow the acronym SMART. We're also willing and prepared to hold briefings for your networks, or to contribute to that, or in any way possible, because it's through you that we will reach a wide number of people. We want the people on this call to be making an action pledge, but we also encourage you to think of five people, 5 organizations who you can reach out to, and who can you say, look, what are you doing in 2021? How about you start with a 2021 action pledge? So that's all from me, and over to you, Momo.
Thank you so much, John, for your presentation. I think I love what you said at the end, that it's really up to us, the people on this call, to create that snowball effect. I really think that's such an important point. So just in a second, you can see my screen. For those who are joining right now on this live Q&A session on the International Year to Eliminate Child Labor, please make sure that you can use the Q&A section. So you're going to see an icon at the bottom of your screen. If you have questions, if Thomas, John, myself, or Anybody say something, you have a question, please make sure you use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. And also you can upvote questions. So if you want to ask a question and someone has already asked that question, just like on Facebook, you give a like, you can give a like to a question to make sure that it has more emphasis. And when we start answering the questions, we are going to address that question first. Just a quick housekeeping note. So the second pillar of our strategy is to inspire. And we think that to accelerate action is one thing, but it's important that the world sees what all of us are doing in terms of actions to eliminate child labor. And basically, that sums up to communication. Of course, one question we've had a lot is, what is going to happen to the pledges once we submit them? We are going to give them visibility on our website, endchildlabor2021.org. So for example, this is a mock-up of how your pledges are going to look. And it's really important because when you're going to come on this page, people can see what is happening, but also you can learn from one another and inspire one another based on the pledges that you've taken. So the UK can learn from Vietnam and vice versa. And interestingly, it's not just going to be little icons or little boxes like this. We are going to tailor them. So based on, oops, sorry. Based on the pledges that you send, we are going to build tailor-made pages, to really tell the story of your pledge. And this still goes in the inspire, path of action, and to inspire the world and to inspire one another based on the actions that we are taking to help end child labor. So that's the first thing. Your pledges will become beautiful and inspiring pages on the website. But even more importantly, we know like this is the age of social media, like trends from Twitter to LinkedIn to the new Clubhouse. This is the age of social media. And one thing that we had as a discussion in the team was, how do we make this year, in terms of resonance, in terms of the reach, we make the fight against child labor to be as normal of a statement as the fight, for climate, for a better climate action. So really, social is core, and we have a Trello board for this. So basically, it's like a drive with a lot of assets that you can use on your social networks. You can even use on your blogs, a lot of media assets that you can use to inspire action to help end child labor. So for example, here you can see social media cards for Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. You can see some social media videos. You can also basically download these videos and share them on your YouTube page. So this Trello board has a lot of assets that you can use. Not only social media, but also visual guidelines. So you want to start creating social media cards, or you want to create an infographic on child labor in your country or in your sector, you can use the visual guidelines of the year, which is available on the Trello board, to reach this goal. Very interestingly and very importantly, you can also have stock images, stock footage that you can use in your, let's say you're writing a blog article it's in March or in June, and it's in the International Day, and you want to write a blog article, you can come to our Trello board and find some, stock footage that you can use. And all the stock footage is in a positive dimension, because as Thomas mentioned, we are trying to give, of course, child labor is a very difficult topic, but we believe that if we show the positive aspects, if we show more of the inspirational touch, we can appeal to the hearts of people and inspire more action to help end child labor. So check out our Trello board. The link to the Trello board is very simple, www.bit.ly/Trello board. We are Trello Public, sorry. We are going to send this link as a follow-up to this session, but you can visit this Trello board and find a lot of very useful media assets and also ready-made posts that you can use to amplify the message. Very importantly, before I pass it back to the Alliance Secretariat, it's important to note that we would love everybody, if you have your Twitter or your phone handy, you can already be tweeting about this session. We have prepared a template message that you can see here. By using the Trello link, you can find this message for the live Q&A session and just make a tweet saying, I am attending a live session on accelerating action to help end child labor. So Three key things you need to remember. First, there's a Trello board that you can use, and this is the link. The second thing you need to remember is let's all work together to amplify the message on social networks. And the third thing is you really need to submit your pledge because so many people are already doing so, and it's going to be given visibility on our social platforms, but most importantly on our website. So let's inspire and accelerate action towards ending child labor. Over to you, John or Alison.
Thank you. It's more for me again. We decided to divide it up a little bit between us, but I think I don't need to say much more here because I introduced this a little bit already when I talked about the overview. So after starting to act and formulating and submitting pledges, second step would be to work together, inspire others, and exchange and be open to communication and to communicate actively about it throughout the year. And then the third one would be to look into how can we build up on the experience of this year to create momentum also for 2022, 2023 and the following years. How can we use the vast experience that hopefully will generate through this initiative to attract more funding to support it, to reach out to new partners that may have not heard or not been looking really into child labor, but are very important also as potential partners in the international system, international organizations that may not have child labor as their core mandate, but have a huge impact on it through their programs and financial decisions. To work with new partnerships on the ground also in communities and see who we can activate and with whom we can partner to implement community programs that help children come out of work and into school, and how we can also ensure that those youth of, let's say, children 15 years and older that are at working age find a decent work and find a possibility to be integrated in the labor market without being exploited. So there are many partners on the ground. There are many partners on the country level, many partners also on the regional level and on the international scene that maybe we would be surprised if we talk to them that they could be interested in also joining this global engagement. So the intention here is also to use this experience to reach out to them, to tell them about it and to see if there are entry points for concrete collaboration with them towards the upcoming years. And that means that we need to be honest also to show them what works, what hasn't worked, what are the successful models, what are the intervention models that are promising for the future, where we have innovation also that we can build upon, so that we can attract them to work with us on these issues. And as I said in the opening, and that's the last one I want to say on the scaling up here, is that the first big moment, let's say, to scale up will be this year, World Day Against Child Labor. We will have a couple of high-level events throughout the year that we can use for engagement, and we're happy to share this with you in more detail. And then we have the 5th Global Conference for the Elimination of Child Labor in April 2022 in South Africa, where we can also look into what is the scenario and what else needs to be done so that we come close to the target in 2025 for the full elimination of child labor. So that's a little bit the idea of the scaling up. And I'm handing over now to Alison so that she can say a few words about some of the questions we have received, and then we can open the floor also for your questions, and please feel free to use the chat already to post your questions there. Probably we will not be able to answer all of them in this meeting, but be sure that we will answer all of them very, very quickly. This session is recorded. We will keep also the record of all the questions so that we can get back to you very quickly and address them all. Thanks so much, and over to you, Alison.
Hi, everyone. Thanks again to all of you for joining us today. It's really great to see how many partners and friends of the Alliance are supporting this campaign. So some of you already know me actually, as I've had many bilateral calls with you on what your 2021 action pledges might look like. So I'm going to share here some of the main questions that have been raised in these conversations, as it's clear to me that many of you have had the same kind of reactions. So from all the questions received so far, I think that for most of them, we can divide them into two categories. One set of questions I felt could be summarized as, is our 2021 action pledge too big? And the second would be, is our 2021 action pledge too small? So starting with the first, many stakeholders have shared some really inspiring plans, projects, and even dreams on what might not or won't be completed in 2021. Examples of this might be initiatives that are launched in 2021, but will be implemented over the course of the next few years. Others are projects that are just very ambitious, and stakeholders are hesitant to submit them as action pledges officially in case they are unable to guarantee success. Now, while we really encourage you to submit action pledges that are achievable, and you can break down whatever ambitious long-term goal you have into what can be delivered this year, we should also bear in mind that the main goal of this initiative is to encourage stakeholders to double down on their efforts to end child labor. It is not to punish those who come across obstacles in their journey. If you submit a 2021 action pledge and share your journey with others, including, as Thomas just said, the obstacles you face, then others can learn and we can all scale up together next year. On the second set of questions, which I've categorized as basically meaning, is our pledge too small? Many stakeholders have shared difficulties in securing action pledges that have, say, for example, a whole of government approval or coordination at the global level for international organizations, or that are reliant on stakeholders' ability to mobilize new funding for projects this year. So I want to be really clear here. If your ministry, department, country office, or organization plans to implement concrete actions towards the elimination of child labor, then join this campaign, share your journeys, and we will support you. There is no action that is too small or too big. All efforts can benefit from this unique opportunity to be part of a community and to learn from each other. Now, besides these two main categories, we've also received some really crucial questions that I think all of you here today would benefit from hearing the answer to. So I've selected a few, as you can see on the screen. So question one, we have several ideas or plans that we want to share. How can we choose? So stakeholders should choose one 2021 action pledge that represents the most ambitious yet achievable contribution they can make and communicate about this year. But this one action pledge can also have several components to it. One example that I helped one stakeholder draft might be something like, we pledge to incorporate a child rights focus into at least 3 components of our corporate social responsibility framework. So question 2, we represent a country office. Our headquarters is already submitting a pledge, but we would like to submit one too, can we? Yes, of course you can. We welcome action pledges of all shapes and sizes. If you think that your contribution to the global goal to end child labor is something that others can learn from, then share it with us. Question 3, am I in a position to pledge on behalf of my organization? Now, individuals, and all of you here today are essentially individuals, are the backbone of this initiative and of the fight against child labor in general. We encourage you to mobilize support internally and get the necessary approvals from those responsible for implementation. But bear in mind as well that you can pledge on behalf of your department or task force or state. Question 4, what is the validation process for action pledges after they are submitted? So the Alliance 8.7 Secretariat will provide feedback and guidance where necessary to ensure that the action pledges submitted are SMART. As my colleague John explained, that means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, although all of these action pledges have the same end date, which is the end of 2021. But we in the Secretariat, we're not here to judge, and we will support change makers in this process. So as individuals, what can you do? Next slide, please. So mobilize support, identify a 2021 action pledge that you think your organization could submit, and mobilize support internally. Identify people in your networks, maybe from other organizations, maybe friends, that you think could make a good contribution to this initiative. Submit. Draft answers to the questions and seek the necessary approval. And remember that we in the Secretariat were available to provide feedback on draft pledges at any time. And on communications, our colleagues from ITC have already shared the Trello board and the tweet that you can all tweet after this session. We'll share the link with you all immediately after. So spread the word, share the social media cards, highlight on your own websites that you're working on a pledge, that you've already submitted a pledge to encourage others to do so. So thank you all again to everyone who provided feedback or reached out to me personally with questions. These questions have shaped our support and our guidance. And if you have any remaining questions, then please put them in the Q&A, or if you feel more comfortable, reach out to us after the sessions.
The question here is simple. Do you need more time, basically, to submit your action pledge? Do you need more time to submit your action pledge? No. Yes, 1 month. Yes, 2 months. So feel free to let us know, because we really value your inputs. Thank you. So 40 people have voted, 50. Right now we are 100 participants in the call. So right now we are at 60% vote rates. So maybe we give 25 more seconds. Maybe some people are consulting their management teams to see if they need more time. Okay, 10 more seconds. Okay, we are at 70% voting. So 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, 70 people have voted. So, okay, I'm gonna share the results. 26% of people are ready to submit right now. So Alison, be ready. In tonight, you're gonna get an influx of pledges. 41% need 1 more month, and 33% need 2 more months. You know, but we're going to look into that. Thanks a lot, and maybe just gonna stop sharing the results right now.
So do you need more time? No, no, yes, 1 month, yes, 2 months. The 58% of people replied yes, 1 month. The 22% of people said no. And some of you, the 19% said yes, 2 months.
Just launching another poll. So what do you need most in terms of support? Do you want support to mobilize, support internally? Do you need support to formulate the pledge? Or do you need some help in terms of communicating throughout the year? So what do you need the most in terms of support? So the votes are coming in still. We have 104 people on the call right now. So 27% have voted. Please, we really value your inputs, so feel free to let us know. What do you need most in terms of support to submit your action pledge? Is it the formulation of the pledge? Is it mobilizing support, networking internally? Or is it to communicate about your actions or to communicate throughout the year? Where do you need the most support? So maybe 10 seconds, and then we're gonna close this. 10, 9, 8, 7, I've forgotten how to count. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, the end of the poll. Okay, so I'm gonna share the results. It seems that the winner in terms of, at least the most important question right now is we need help to formulate pledges. That's 41% of people. Communication is second as a concern with 30%. And third is how to mobilize support internally.
How to communicate throughout the year is got 48%, while 34% got formulating pledge, and there's still a 20% of you that needs help on mobilizing support internally. I'm gonna make the comment about the communication part, since I'm the one who's actually, together with a large team, handling it. This is very interesting for me because, again, like we felt, I mean, everything was pretty clear, particularly using the website. But please, I mean, first of all, the first reaction is, I think we can organize a session specifically dedicated to communication if you feel that's needed, because we really want to make sure that you know where or how to use communication tools that we are providing and how you can communicate throughout the year. So that's the first thing. We are also drafting a kind of vademecum on how to create monthly mini campaigns, so how to engage on a monthly basis. But for sure, please make sure that you check on the website the practical guide, because that already provides information on how to do that. The Trello board is very important because you have a lot of assets. And as I said, we can use also very, let's say, old-fashioned communications such as emails. So please email us if you have questions, or if you're struggling, if you don't have a graphic design internally, you don't know how to create a social media card, we can support on anything that you need. For formulating the pledge, I think Alison, Thomas, and John can say something, and also related to mobilizing support internally. And then we can move to the question and answer part. So Tim, over to you. Thomas?
Massi, maybe I'll take the one on mobilizing support internally.
Please.
Yeah, so as I already said, most of you have already reached out to the email address. If you need us as the Secretariat to brief your colleagues, your superiors, your networks, then we are available to do so. So please let us know.
Cool. Thomas or John?
Yes.
And on formulating the pledge as well, of course, if you want to send your draft to the Secretariat, we're happy to provide feedback, and indeed have done so for many of you already. But yeah, we're here to support you, so please reach out.
There is a question from Abimbola Ogundairo. In what other ways can we contribute to the strategy beyond submitting an action pledge? So as we said, the action pledges is only one part of the global campaign for the international year. Parallelly to this, we have also promoting and coordinating a couple of high-level events on the international year with different partners. We started with launch events, a global launch event, a second one in Latin America, very successful with heads of state. A third one is coming up in Africa on the 31st of March. We will have the World Day Against Child Labor this year as one of the major opportunities to engage around the world with partners on messages about the fight against child labor. We will present also new global estimates that will show the trends and tendencies on child labor over the last 4 years. And this will also feed into the discussion on policies and what we can do. Particularly for the Pathfinder countries of the Alliance 8.7, there are engagement opportunities throughout the year. Particularly, we are planning to send out or to produce a new report, new Pathfinder report on their progress since last year, which will be presented at the high-level political forum of the ECOSOC in July. We are looking into engagement opportunities during the UN General Assembly. And then in the regions and on country level, there is a lot of engagement going on, also with the private sector, with civil society organizations being very active, with Alliance 8.7 partners. So we can provide you with a calendar of the events that have already been agreed upon, and then discuss with you or have a conversation with you on where you want to engage and where you eventually might need the support of the Alliance. The second question I would like to answer is the one from, I don't know who it sent, it says anonymous attendee. Can we start communicating about our pledge immediately after submitting it? Are supporting materials like pledge infographics for social media created and shared by the Alliance 8.7? Yes, they are created. We can support this, and we want to reach out and show your commitments through this sort of communication. I'm not sure if we can do it immediately after the pledges have submitted, or if we do it once we reach the deadline and we curate all the pledges that we have received. We upload them on the website and we start then communicating more systematically around it. I leave the second part of this question maybe to Marci.
Thanks, Thomas. Thank you very much. And let me also, while I answer this question, let me also mention that Q&A is open right now. So talking about conversation, this is the moment where, I mean, you can ask questions. Talking to Brigitte, Azam, Christina, that have raised their hands as attendees, please, if you have questions, to make sure that participation is, well handled and questions are actually well answered, please use the question and answer tool so we can see what are your questions, and then we can directly follow up there. So this is the moment where you can really ask your questions, and please upvote them so that we can see those that are more popular. And in any case, we're gonna try to answer all of them. If we don't manage, if questions will become in this, it's 4 or 5 minutes that the question and answer session is open. If questions will become many, don't worry, we will answer all the questions that you submit, either today or through email, okay? So I'm gonna start with some of these questions, but before, let me just mention what I answered in the part concerning the communication around your pledge. Of course, communicate around your pledge when you have submitted the pledge, but please don't stop yourself to wait until the moment that you submitted your pledge. You can still communicate around child labor, the International Year, and you can tell the story also what you are trying to do or what you are working on. So please keep communicating around it. No, don't wait for the pledge, but communicate about it. And then when you submit the pledge, of course, increase the effort on the communication side of it. Christine is just making a comment. Is saying sharing the calendar. It's making a comment where she says sharing the calendar would be very useful. Thanks. I guess Christine is referring to the calendar of activities. John, is that correct?
Yes, I believe so. And that's something that we're always adding to throughout the year. We did a call out for through the Alliance 8.7 partners for upcoming events, which will be gradually uploaded to the website. But we'll reach out to us. We encourage you to reach out to us, and if there's something upcoming, so that we can share it with the community.
Perfect. I take this question from Mateo Garcia Prieto. It says, you have presented a dedicated page per pledge. Does this apply to all pledges submission? Yes. So each organization, each pledge maker will have his own dedicated page, his own dedicated space, let's say, where we would interact, but basically where we showcase the pledge first. And then we'll see what you're doing on a monthly basis. And again, this will serve also as a communication tool for your organization to actually communicate your action to other stakeholders. So it's important because you will have basically a dedicated page on the website where you can communicate around your pledge. So that's a question that has been answered. So I'm just going, do we know, so from Philippe, do we know the proportion of partners / institution who already submitted pledge, private sector, NGO, trade unions, governments, individuals? Do we know where they come from? Where will they apply their pledges? So the short answer is yes, but I'll leave it to John.
Yeah, good question, Philippe. Thanks for participating. Yes, I mean, we're tracking that as you know, through the submission form, people indicate where they're based, and and what type of agency or organization they are. At the moment, they're fairly distributed from around the world. We have a mix of, we have some regional organizations. Obviously, there's less regional organizations. Then we have quite a few countries, and then a lot more, say, organizations. The private sector has also been, it's encouraging to see quite a few from the private sector, and I think that's also as a result of reaching out to them specifically, and also the civil society. So yeah, we're really hoping for quite a number of pledges, and so far it's been widely spread. We are there's a African regional launch on the 31st of March. So I imagine after that as well there'll be more from that region, and then there's also going to be some country and other focused launches.
Very good, John. Thanks. Question from Monique. I'm interested in the plans of the Alliance and UN to launch all the pledges. Will there a specific moment, a kind of launch event of the pledges? Second, what are you doing and what can we do to strengthen together the message, bring forward the pledges, etc.? Alison, John, Thomas, always feel free to come in.
Yeah, good question, Monique. We plan to present all the pledges shortly. I think we will, as we've seen through today, there's some stakeholders that would appreciate an extension, so that would mean that we wouldn't present those till later. But I think we're basically planning to, you know, in the coming month or so, to start showcasing the pledges that have already been submitted, and then we'll gradually upload, let's say, and present and share the pledges as they come in. And of course, there will be an eventual end date. And I just pick up on Philip's secondary question about that. Why is there an actual deadline to submit a pledge? And the theory, at least the strategy behind that, is that we wanted to give stakeholders a time to actually implement the pledge. So we know that there's, if you sort of segment the year, there's a part for identification, which we've left a few months for, so up until March 30th. Now we're going to extend that. And then there's a time to actually implement it. So, okay, I've identified it, I've announced it, but now I have to implement it in, throughout the rest of the year. So we didn't want to receive pledges, after in, let's say, August, because that would leave only a few months for stakeholders to actually implement it. And then just switching back to Monique's second part of her question, what are we doing to strengthen together the message, bring forward the pledges, etc.? Well, we're really we're doing things like this, but we're also counting on all you out there to share it with your networks. As you've seen, we've got guidance materials, we've got the practical guide, we've got this Trello with multiple assets for sharing. We've got a website that's always being updated. We have newsletters going out. These are the things that that we're using to reach out to the community. But of course, with all of you, each of you, if you are able to reach out to a further, let's say, a further 5 people or organizations, and then you multiply that out, then we really are going to receive a lot of pledges and make a real difference this year. It's all about, we're not going to end child labor this year, but our actions and what we actually achieve will actually considerably help to reduce child labor. So that's what we're doing. And of course, I mean, if you're not a member of Alliance 8.7, a partner of Alliance 8.7, please sign up, because we also have specific groups in there, and a communications group that we're sharing. We talk regularly, and we have more support through that as an alliance partner.
Thanks, John. I see many questions are now coming in, and I feel like it's very useful session. So maybe I'll keep going for another few minutes. Yeah, just to, maybe also answer a Monique question that we will actually present the pledges also on social. So we'll try to amplify each individual pledge and present them throughout the months. So to make sure that there is also, visibility for each specific pledge. And of course, major events will be planned. Let me try to answer the question from Ank, or give it to you. Do you have by any chance a matchmaking poll between NGOs and, for example, advertising company or PR experts? This way, companies, agencies could join these movements together with NGOs. Thank you. John, maybe?
Yeah, good question. So a matchmaking pool between NGOs and sort of PR experts. I think if I understand that correctly, what we're doing is we're certainly trying to make by getting stakeholders to identify and then share with the community their progress throughout the year. We want to bring people together and as you say, matchmake, so that, if someone's doing some interesting work, by sharing that, other people will know about it, and they'll be like, oh, that's something that we want to, if it's a country and the other country is doing something interesting, let's contact them, let's discuss further. Or it could be a civil society, as I said, with a media organization or something like that. All these relationships we want to build, and we see the Inspire pillar as really making that happen. What we didn't want is people to announce or identify an action in early 2021 and then be quiet for the rest of the year, and then in December go, we did it. That's great, but actually we're missing a lot, and that's what we found. We're missing a lot of that interactivity, the sharing of experiences. That is really important, that we've, over the years of trying to fight child labor, that's really important to the movement, for people to learn from one another. So we're really encouraging that matchmaking.
Cool. Thank you very much. And again, we're doing the same on the communication side. So that's important. I'm taking the questions by time that they arrived, because just to avoid, picking some of them. So please upvote them if you like to have answered the specific question. So I keep going for another minute. What do you think? And then we can maybe answer the questions via email. Is that okay with you, John, Thomas, Alison?
Yeah,
I think we can stay a few more minutes because of the delay in the beginning, if people are available.
Okay, and I apologize for the delay.
I'm sorry, I need to leave 12 sharp for another meeting, but I think you're in good hands.
Okay.
So I'm also conscious that we won't be able to answer all the questions, but I'm happy to give it a little bit more time. Go ahead, and the meeting is recorded. We have all the questions also, so we can address the ones that we won't find time to answer now quickly afterwards over the next few days.
Yeah, and if you feel shy, feel free to follow up via email with us. So, questions are welcome, because really that's the way we can also support you.
Exactly.
Thomas, thank you very much for your present intervention. And we will go ahead. Feel free to jump in if you want to.
Please. Yeah, don't worry. I need to fade out in 2 minutes, but please go ahead. Thanks very much.
Okay, take care. So, yeah, John, please.
Yeah, I just mentioned that because maybe not everyone's familiar with upvoting, there's a little plus thumbs up sign symbol under the Q&A, each comment, if you see them, that you can use to upvote, and you just click on that, and that's what we're talking about. And then the other point is, this is the first of probably many info sessions throughout the year. This one was really focused on helping people on the first pillar of the ACT, helping them to make a smart 2021 action pledge. We've touched upon the other pillars, but certainly I think in the coming months we can have another info session on the Inspire and how you communicate your journey throughout the year. Back to you, Messi, for the next set of questions.
So there's an upvote here, so I'll probably read this one, which is long but very specific. So I'm not sure. But let me. Yeah.
I see the screen sharing, just by the way.
Yeah, I don't know if it makes sense, or maybe I just stop sharing the screen just for people to know what we are going to answer first. I can also stop.
I just said it. Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So there was a question from Ezra saying, hello, I would like to mention 2 specific things that we did at ILO, as ILO Office for Turkey, which would be an inspiration to our colleagues. So thanks, Ezra, for sharing, first of all. First, we made a joint call for action by UN Resident Coordinator in Turkey and ILO Turkey Director promoting pledges. It was published and distributed by the National News Agency and promoted by UN Turkey website and ILO Europe page, as well as EndChildLabor2021.org latest page, and Alliance 8.7 initiative put it on their newsletter. As a follow-up, we started a social media challenge by doing the first pledge as ILO Office for Turkey. So thanks, Ezra, for sharing. This is, a wonderful news, and we were aware of it, of course. Yeah, it's a perfect example, very inspirational. John, do you want to make any comments?
No, thanks for sharing, Ezra. That's great. As you know, we've been involved in that, and I think this is a good example for other stakeholders of what can be done. You know, at the country level, regional level, where you've got high level political support, and that will trickle down. So now I think, and then, you know, through all the channels that we're talking about, the newsletters, the websites, we can make sure that, we can help that, you know, many organizations and other stakeholders in Turkey and in other places take it upon themselves to do a 2021 action pledge. So thanks for sharing, and I hope others see that as a good example.
Yeah, and Ezra, one important element is that proactiveness is always welcome. So if you're proactive, if you bring ideas, if you have inspiring ideas also to bring on the table, feel free, and also to connect with other stakeholders. That's the good attitude. So the other question from anonymous attendee is, will UN agencies, especially those working on child labor, be making pledges as well?
Yes, they will be. We've received already some from different UN agencies. You know, the ILO is a UN agency that we making a pledge. FAO, just to name a few, but there's many. I can't name them all. So yeah, they're, of course, the international year is a UN international year, so definitely we want key stakeholders like UN agencies who do a lot of multilateral work for them to be making their pledges. And we've also seen that some of these organizations are making a global pledge as the whole of the organization, and then because they have different regional parts of their organization, they submit a organizational pledge, but say in Africa or in Asia, which is also good.
Okay, so a question in French from Joseph. I'm gonna read it in English since we have simultaneous interpretation. So there was also the question of resource mobilizations. Internal resource mobilization. For example, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, there was, budget issues, and they would like to actually institute a fund for special zero tolerance on child labor and artisanal mines from year to 2025. Is there any way of, could we kind of wait for a financial contribution from the Secretariat of the Alliance, or kind of invite other financial partners to help. Hopefully I corrected, I translated it correctly. So John, over to you about funding for specific countries or financial aids for specific countries, particularly those facing hard issues related to child labor.
Yeah, I'll start, and colleagues, Alison, if you want to jump in, feel free to. So I think this is, this is tackling some really core points of what we're trying to achieve this year. There's stakeholders that want to do action, but they may kind of require funding for that action. What we're saying is we want things to be realistic this year. A 2020 Action Pledge should be realistic and achievable, but it should also be ambitious. So I think you could break that down part of that sort of that whole ambition there, and to go, look, what parts of that could we think about that? And maybe that's, okay, we're going to hold a donor conference for donors or something or I'm just thinking of, perhaps let's think of a strategic way to get funding. So it's like the first point of that larger goal. And that's what we want to do this year. Think of a specific time-bound, measurable action that can be part of a larger thing, and is part of existing plans. And then the other part of that is, if you have that, in the submission form, you can write the description and show, this is the first part of a multi-stage thing. And then if you communicate that, others from this community, there's donors and others on these calls and part of Alliance 8.7 and the wider community, the word will travel and people will start to look into that. And that's where you'll probably have more success with sharing what you're trying to do, and also embarking upon at least the initial stages for for future funding, hopefully.
Thanks, John. So I would stop here the question and answers. Please, let's save all question and answer, and be sure we reply to all of them. There are many interesting questions there, but we see a lot of attendees also have to leave. So we want to make sure that at least what is said into this webinar is shared among all stakeholders. So let me ask you the very last question to make sure that we actually go back to the very beginning of the webinar. So the question is, after what have you heard, are you interested in submitting a 2021 action pledge? Particularly for those who said not and those who were undecided. So if you can please vote and tell us a little bit more about your intentions. And as we said, the whole point of this webinar is to showcase also the level of engagement also from our side, to help you, to support you, and to make sure that you have all the tools and all the answers to actually submit your action pledge and feel really helped by the Alliance Secretariat, both from, let's say, a policy-oriented point of view, but also from a communication perspective. So your feedback is really fundamental, and we hope you enjoyed this participative approach. And of course, the question and answer is just a quick way to actually get all your questions, because as you know, if we open up to live questions, it would have been a bit less effective. It wouldn't have the time to actually allow many people to ask questions. So we will go through all your questions, and in the meantime, I probably in 30 seconds close the poll. I would like to thank all of you for your participation in the meantime, and it's been a pleasure. Sorry again for the technical glitches, but since we had the many interpretation, let's say many interpreters available to make sure that we could translate in all the 3 main languages, that's where we got a bit stuck at the beginning. But I hope you enjoyed this session, and maybe I leave it to John and Alison afterwards, but let me close the poll. And apparently we have a very good feedback in terms of those that are actually more interested to submit the pledge. There are still some undecided. There's someone who doesn't want to submit the pledge. We're gonna convince you in the coming weeks. And yeah, and feel free. I mean, if you really have I mean, a struggle or something, just write to us and we will be happy to support you. So Alison and John, over to you for the conclusions.
Thanks, Mercy, and thanks, colleagues, for the great presentation. Yes, we certainly hope that those undecideds, there's a few of you, that we can change your minds. Please reach out to us, let us know what we can do to help you. And for all those who said yes, please, we look forward to receiving your pledges. Please reach out if you need any assistance with that. I see a final comment from Anke about the meeting. I'm glad it was inspiring. Thank you for joining. And yes, there is a community out there, so that's why we want to bring people together. We're holding another session later today for the different time zones, but we will, I mean, our plan is to keep in constant contact throughout the year through a variety of tools and channels. And we'll be holding some of these info sessions throughout as well, in addition to events and engagement opportunities. So from me, thank you again. Over to Alison for a few final words, and hope to see you online or somewhere soon.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything else to add. You've already said it all. Thank you all for joining us, and please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. You should already have our email address, but if not, I'll just repeat it quickly. It's 2021@alliance87.org.
Yeah.
So reach out, please.
Thanks, Alison. Thanks, John. Let me repeat also for communication at alliance8.7.org. But you can find that email address on the website. Thanks to my colleague Alexa for sharing the social media plan. Anke, we shared your enthusiasm, so let's keep going and we'll be there. See you soon.
And if you want to invite colleagues to the afternoon session, please do.
Exactly. And there is also recording. So if you have missed the beginning or the end, feel free also to ask for this recording. Enjoy your day and see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.
So that's it for the polls for now. Maybe Alison, over to you to address any of the Q&A, to address any of the outstanding questions that participants may have.
So I think my colleagues have been answering them as we've been going along in the Q&A. There's only one that I can see that's left. Let me just read it.
And please feel free to ask questions even now. If you have any burning questions, we are here to answer. Please feel free to ask the questions. Sorry.
So this is a question from, I'm not sure if it's an association or an NGO from the Ituri region in DRC, I believe. They're working with children working in mines, and they're asking if the Secretariat can support local organizations in this fight against child labor. So we would really, really, really encourage this organization to reach out to us and to tell us what they're doing exactly. We can provide communication support throughout the year, especially if you're a partner based in Pathfinder country, which DRC is. So we can help you show the rest of the world what you are doing in the hopes that that will attract the right kind of attention, hopefully more support for your organization in the form of funding for next year. At this moment in time, we cannot guarantee that, but that is the end goal of this initiative. So we will help you as much as we can to come up with the best pledge and the best communication strategy around the progress you are making on the ground. and we can put you in touch with other partners that are also interested in submitting pledges from DRC. We've had quite a few companies that work in DRC reach out to us. We also have the government itself, the Ministry of Mining, that's working on a pledge. So we will support you.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Alison. Since there's a few questions have been asked now. What next after the year 2021? Someone is asking, what next? John, Alison, I don't know if one of you wants to answer.
That's good.
I'll leave that to John, as my contract is shorter than his.
That's good. Always looking forward beyond 2021. That's great. I mean, our focus is obviously 2021 and thinking what is a specific action that you can take. I know we have the end goal of ending child labor and reducing child labor. Everyone has their own specific goals. I mean, in terms of some things to highlight, there's we've got the 5th Global Conference to be hosted by South Africa next year. We've got later this year, we've got the global estimates of child labor being released around the World Day Against Child Labor. We'll have upcoming estimates for modern slavery and forced labor. I think one approach is that, you know, we're set. This is a special year. It's the international year, and that's why we came up with this strategy. Listening to partners. What do you want? Action, action, action. And so this is why we have the 2021 action pledges. And perhaps, you know, if that's successful, if we have a few hundred pledges that come in and people get behind it, and it shows that, you know, people are making, stakeholders, individuals are making considerable progress. And although that may not have direct impact on reducing the numbers immediately, it will have long-term impacts. Then, you know, perhaps in 2022, 2023, beyond, we start having some yearly actions that people can take.
Thanks a lot for that, John. Another question from Esmirana Sanchez. It's in Spanish. I would have loved to read it in Spanish, but I don't want to, you know, scare anybody. So I'm going to read it in English. I need clarity on the steps to follow to formulate an action proposal. I hope my translation was good enough, but and it was also the top question. Basically, what would you suggest as steps, Alison, John, to formulate a good action proposal?
I would recommend, Esmirna, that you read the practical guide and you consolidate all the ideas that you have for this year into a single action plan, and then you discuss with your colleagues on what within that action plan would make, I think you're from Costa Rica, most proud to share with other Pathfinder countries and with other non-Pathfinder countries and with the rest of the world. And then you can draft the answers to the question in the submission form. And if you want, you can send the draft answers to us for feedback and guidance. We're available to provide guidance on all draft pledges. And then you need to submit it online. And once you've done that, we will support you throughout the year to populate the individual pledge maker page that Momo shared earlier, so that you can keep everybody up to date with what your country's doing.
Thanks a lot, Alison. Just a quick question from Joanna Demarquez. Will the pledges be publicized by you? I can answer that quickly. Yes, we are going to have a pledges page where all the pledges will be visible, and the goal is really so that we can learn from one another and inspire one another in the fight against child labor. Maybe Alison or John, a question for you. Jason Razafiman Natsoa is asking, because of the pandemic, are you going to be flexible in terms of the deadline to achieve the goals, to achieve the pledges? And also an anonymous person wrote the same question about, is the deadline going to be flexible?
Good question. I'll take a stab at that.
Go ahead.
So the deadline is the to complete the pledge, if I understand correctly, is the end of this year. And we set that because we want people to think about a specific action that makes a difference within a time-bound period. So, what we wanted to move away from was these long-term commitments. We will end child labor in 10 years and we will do this in 5 years. So we wanted to come back and go, look, what's something realistic and achievable within 1 year? And because we're not telling people what they should do, but it's up to the actual stakeholder and individual to set their own action and to think through, okay, is that something we can achieve? Then, for that reason, we're going to be, we really encourage stakeholders to complete it from now, or as soon as they submit it, up until the end of the year. Okay, please note, there's no penalty. I mean, this is all voluntary. This is a community. We all need to act. So nothing. We're not going to come knocking on your door, but we really do encourage you to do that. And obviously, I can imagine in January 2022. Sounds strange to say that. We'll look back and reflect on the year and what's been done. So, it'll be good to highlight all the pledges that have been completed. I mean, we do realize there's a pandemic happening. There's always reasons for delays and things like that. But as I said, it is voluntary. There's no penalties. So do not worry about that. All we would really advise is submit a pledge and get started.
Thanks, John. Submit a pledge and get started. Maybe two quick questions again. Someone is asking, yes, communication throughout the year. Does this mean across the world or for respective nations? Please, we are encouraging communication across the globe. So far, based on our analytics, the campaign has reached over 150 countries, but we encourage communication throughout the year across the globe, so in every nation. Maybe John or Alison, a question for you. Someone submitted their pledge and she's wondering if this is the place where this is going to be discussed or if they're going to receive individual feedback. That's Danielle Bohm.
No, we'll give you individual feedback leading up until the deadline, whether or not we extend that. No, we're not going to be sharing pledges that we've already received here today. Plus, we only have 5 minutes left. So
okay. Maybe we take two quick questions because questions are flooding in. Joseph Njugu is asking, can we co-organize or invite one of the members of the Alliance Secretariat to be a speaker in a webinar? Alison, John?
You can certainly reach out to us and tell us what the webinar is about, and we will find someone that would be best suited and ask them if they're available. So sure, reach out. Okay.
Still from Daniel, a very important question. He's asking if you can get the mails of the participants to this event, but I think there's a way to sort of know who are the members of the Alliance. So maybe, John, do you have some insights on this, especially for the networking and collaboration component?
Yeah, sure. There's a couple of ways that we can share as a community. I mean, I think I advise you to follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn on the social channels where you can start to see other people who follow us. That's one way, and you can reach out. You can become a partner of Alliance 8.7 if you're an organization. Again, that's voluntary, and you can sign up. And then there's we've set up different mechanisms for people to relate and communicate with each other, so we can add you to those. So yeah, I think there's a number of ways that we can do that. So please join Alliance 8.7 and sign up to the newsletter for the International Year, which is on the sign up is on the web page.
Thanks a lot, John. Right now, we just gonna launch a last poll just to get your thoughts on, now that you've listened to all our arguments and we've been convincing you, are you ready to submit a pledge? Are you still interested to submit a pledge? Hopefully we've given you all the arguments, and wow, it's close to a unanimous yes, but I'm gonna give 20 more seconds. 30 people have voted out of 95. Please make sure you vote. We just want to get the sentiment. This is like a monitoring and evaluation kind of thing.
Maybe as we wait for that, I see a question. It was further back up. Maybe if Thomas is online still. It was about, I'm just trying to find it, about the global conference and when exactly that will be held.
Yes, I think I answered this already directly on the chat, but it's important for everybody. So the actual planning date for this conference to happen is the last week of April in 2022. Still to be definitely confirmed with the South African government, but that's the week that's reserved for the moment for the conference.
Thanks a lot, Thomas. So I'm going to end the poll now, so we see how well we did sharing the results. So 85% of people are inspired and interested in submitting an action pledge. 15 are still undecided. Hopefully, with our follow-up emails, after you follow us on Twitter, you're going to be convinced. And 0% doesn't want to submit, so that's a great thing. Thanks a lot for participating in the poll. And just before you go, we have a little video. It's a little bit like an inspirational storytelling approach to getting people to get fired up and want to submit an action pledge. Please watch this video, and then maybe Thomas is going to give closing remarks.
Kids have wild imaginations. Their laughter can light up.
Just going to start it back.
Kids wild imaginations. Their laughter can light up a room. They love to explore, play, and discover. Everyone has the right to a happy and safe childhood. That's why the United Nations has declared 2021 the International Year for the Elimination of Child Labor. Starting now, we're asking regions, countries, organizations, and individuals to join our mission to end child labor by making a 2021 action pledge. This commitment is the first step in our three-pillar strategy. Act. Choose a specific action that contributes to ending child labor. Inspire. Share your journey through stories and experiences. Scale up. Build upon your experience with fellow changemakers. Each action pledge will pave the way to ending child labor by 2025. Are you ready to submit yours? For children everywhere, let's get started. Together, we can make a difference. Visit endchildlabor2021.org or email us at 2021@alliance87.org for more information.
Thanks for watching. We see that questions are still flooding in, so maybe we just answer a few more. We have the Saida Sultana notes that we have an impression that since the government focal ministry is very busy now, we feel that the deadline, the 30th, needs to be extended. Is there scope for extension? I think this question has been addressed, but can move on. John Allison, I don't know among the questions if you feel that you want to address one. Thomas, John, Allison?
Yeah, maybe I can take that question about the extension.
Yeah.
So we had the same poll in the information session that we did this morning, and in both sessions, an overwhelming majority voted for yes, we need more time. Obviously, there were differences between how much more time stakeholders needed. So we're going to discuss internally based on those results and come to a conclusion on what date would be the best deadline date to extend to. But look, this initiative is for you guys. It's not for us. We are not the norms department imposing rules, and we're all open ears. So we are most likely going to take on board your suggestions, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible on the new date.
Thanks, Alison. Maybe a little bit more technical question. As an ILO official, for personal pledges, should I use my personal email address or can I use my ILO email address? That's from Seda still.
So personal pledges cannot be submitted in the submission form. The submission form is for stakeholders only. Individuals should announce their pledge on social media. So I guess it's up to you which email address you use for that, or which Twitter account you use for that. Yeah.
Thanks, Alison. Please, if you have any other burning question, please ask it right now so we can address the question. I think for now we have answered. John, what do you think in terms of answering?
I think it's been a good session. I just pick up on the last one from Gillian Davidson. Do you have to identify as one of the categories in the guidance, e.g. government, business, network, individual? If you don't quite fit, we just choose the one that most represents you, or just write us and we'll give you guidance on that. So, it's really inclusive and open for everyone. Yeah, with that, I think, Momo, we've answered quite a bit. I think you've done a good job at moderating this session, so thanks for that. And yeah, my final words are thanks everyone for participating, and really looking forward to receiving your pledges. Maybe Alison and Thomas have some final remarks.
No, I think you've said it all, John. Thank you all of you for coming. Don't worry if we didn't get around to answering your questions. We're available by email. We're also going to send a follow-up email to everyone who registered today with the answers to the questions we didn't get a chance to answer, with a link to the recording of the session if you want to share it with your colleagues, and hopefully with news of the extension.
Excellent. Maybe Thomas wants to say something, or maybe he left already.
He might have left, so I think we can.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks, John. Thanks, Alison. Thanks, everybody. And looking forward to reading your pledges. Thanks a lot and stay safe. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.